Hi, and thanks for joining me for another tip where we keep things short, simple, and specific. Today, we're starting a brand new segment, and I call this segment Interview with a Recruiter. In today's episode, we have Kyle, who is the relations manager from a company called Value Virtual Assistants with head office in the Philippines. Welcome, Kyle, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Sir Bart.
Kyle, can you tell us a little bit about what Value Virtual Assistants does and how it's different from other recruitment companies?
Sure. Value Virtual Assistants is a staff management company which handles full-time Filipino virtual assistants, and we cater to clients around the world in the US, Canada, UK, Australia, and many more countries. So what makes us different from other virtual assistant companies is we provide engagement programs for our virtual assistants. So these programs can be trainings to our virtual assistants and other efforts to make them feel more that they are working with a team.
Excellent. That does sound valuable to the client companies that you work with. Now, can you tell us a little bit about what kinds of companies or industries or company departments hire virtual assistants?
Most of our clients right now are startup companies. So they are looking for someone who can help them build up their company in industries such as marketing, financial, and mostly businesses that require the need of an online assistant. Um, Startup companies usually take up more effort and more time to build. So our clients are looking to free up their time when it comes to the things that needed to be set up. So a virtual assistant is something that they look into because they are able to give the task to the virtual assistant and make more productive choices or efficient choices for their company and their business with the virtual assistant assisting them on this task.
Excellent. So startups, absolutely. And I'm curious, given the whole situation that has been happening over more than a year now, I'm wondering, are you seeing an increase in the need for virtual assistants? Is there a growth in companies hiring virtual assistants?
I wouldn't say that there is a major growth when it comes to hiring virtual assistants, but definitely when the pandemic started, there is a trend of working from home when it comes to uh, needing assistance on things. So the virtual assistant industry has been well known for the past year, and most of the clients that we have are very interested or new also when it comes to the idea of the virtual assistant. So I would say that it has um, been talking about, or people have been interested in knowing about the virtual assistant industry.
Interesting. So there is an increased interest. Would that be a good summary of that?
Yes, yes. I would say that there would be an increase of interest.
Excellent, excellent. And as we know, more and more people do want to work from home. So becoming a virtual assistant is absolutely a great choice. Now, based on your experience, can you tell us a little bit about some of the top skills that employers or your client companies are looking for when they want to hire a virtual assistant?
Yes, so well, other than the specific software skills or experience that they're looking for, one of the most looked for, or what we are used to hearing from our clients, are mostly soft skills, such
Soft
as
skills, interesting.
yeah, such as communication, someone who's reliable, independent. As you can see, most of it heavily relies on um, trust and given responsibility to the virtual assistant. So as a staffing company or someone who looks for the virtual assistant, we also look for someone who has um, like the initiative or the professionalism when it comes to working as a virtual assistant as well.
Interesting, and I know this from teaching business courses in college that, and this is quite a popular statistic, that soft skills or communication skills are much more important for a person's career success than the hard skills, like you mentioned, software, because we can learn hard skills quite quickly from different training programs.
Exactly.
But it takes a long time to develop professionalism, a great work ethic, and you mentioned trust, being able to be trustworthy, and of course communication skills, working well and communicating well with other people. Now, you did mention software. Can you give us a couple of examples of what type of software skills that your client companies are typically looking for?
Yes. So going back to the idea that our clients rather, are looking for someone to free up more of their time. So they need someone who is very knowledgeable on certain softwares or skills. And it really depends on our client's industry, on what kind of softwares. Like, for example, when it comes to the marketing industry, it's important for the virtual assistant to have knowledge on using editing softwares or online platforms such as Canva, which is very useful to all startup companies right now. Actually, all even big companies use Canva right now. And when it comes to industries such as financial and accounting, online software such as QuickBooks Online or the desktop version of QuickBooks is something that most of our clients are looking for when it comes to accounting or bookkeeping positions.
Excellent, thank you for that. And of course, for our viewers, these skills are important, just like Kyle said, in many different industries. So it's always good to develop software skills, of course, in addition to soft skills and communication skills. Now, let's go on to the next question. And this one is a little bit opposite to the first question. And that is, based on the feedback that you receive from your client companies, what skills do virtual assistants most often lack or are weak in or need to develop more to be effective?
Yes. Right now, I can't say that we have received any bad feedback from our client, but based on our observation when it comes to documentation of the processes or handling the virtual assistants and our clients, I would say the things that needs enhancement are the communication skills of our virtual assistants. Some of our virtual assistants came from an office setup going into a remote work setup. And it's always difficult for us, or it takes a lot of patience for us to set a mindset to our virtual assistants that the two things are very different. So the level of communication is doubled. The level of responsibility when it comes to remotely working is doubled. And it's something that is continuously being reminded to our virtual assistants when it comes to communication skills of communicating with the client, especially when it comes, especially that we have communication barriers such as the internet, like time zones are different as well. So it's something that we can improve on as a virtual assistant.
Great, and that again brings us back to what you said initially when you answered my first question, is what type of skills? Well, it always comes down to communication skills and the work ethic right? Because as a
Yes.
virtual assistant, you have no one else to blame, right? In an office environment, there's always colleagues and team members.
Yes.
But if you're working from home, it's just you, and you have to be responsible for time management, for all the details, for communicating with you and
Mhm.
with management and client companies. So it
Yes.
makes
And
sense when you said that it's almost double the responsibility, right?
exactly, yes. And I'd just like to add that we recognize these kinds of concerns and problems for a virtual assistant, that communication will be hard. You will be working on your own alone. That's why we as a company also give out engagement programs to our virtual assistants to lessen the risk or lessen the problems of experiencing these things with our client as well.
And thank you for sharing that, because it's a great way to lead in to the next question, which you have pretty much answered already, which is how important is continuous or ongoing professional development for virtual assistants to continue to be successful?
Mhm. Yeah, so I mentioned earlier, but maybe just to add more emphasis, that the job or responsibility of the virtual assistant, the very core of being the virtual assistant, is heavily based on professionalism. How you show yourself when it comes to your work ethic and communication towards the client. So it's very important to show your actions, updates, the progress that you give to our clients, so that they know that there's a level of trust gained when it comes to the task given to you. So these kinds of engagement programs are what helps the virtual assistant, or we aim for these programs to help the virtual assistant increase those odds of gaining the trust, responsibility, and professional work ethic of our virtual assistants as well.
Excellent. And I can see and I can hear that your company uh, places great importance on maintaining your virtual assistants professional development, because of course they represent your company to the client, right?
Yes, we try to be consistent with all of our virtual assistants.
Excellent. And now I'm gonna switch maybe topics a little bit. Now, I imagine that you get a lot of applicants, a lot of people who want to work as virtual assistants. And like we said earlier, uh, perhaps part of the reason is because of the whole global situation. More people are working from home. A lot of people have lost their physical office jobs, and now they want to transition to online. So I'm sure you get a lot of applications from
Yes.
people. And as you review their applications or their resumes, uh, what are some of the bigger challenges that you experience when you review their applications and resumes? So maybe the way the resume is written, or the content, or anything else that makes it more challenging for you to take that person and to place them with a client company. What are some of those challenges that you experience?
Yes. So actually, we started operations when really the pandemic started to, when there are lockdowns all over the world. So imagine people are looking immediately for remote work every day. So we received around 50 to even 100 applicants a day sometimes.
Every
When it
day.
comes, yeah, every day.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's around maybe 20 or 10 is the minimum every day. And when it comes to weekends, we receive 100 of applicants during weekends. So we experience many challenges when it comes to screening all of those applicants. So just to name a few challenges, first would be the comprehension when it comes to instructions for the virtual assistants. So our screening process is heavily based on email or writing communication. So it's also part of our process that our virtual assistants needs to understand quickly when it comes to instructions, or if not, they have the intention to ask or double check with us what could be the instructions that was given to them. So that is one challenge that we experience where candidates seem to have different understanding on instructions. So, and are not able to pursue their application because of that. Another problem that we experience also, like what you said earlier, is the materials that they give to us. By materials, I mean the resumes, the portfolios, some requirements that we ask for them. Those are the things that we are struggling to get to the virtual assistant. Our screening process includes interviewing the candidate when it comes to the experiences that they have on the resume. And some resumes are just job titles included in the resumes. Some resumes are not even formatted very well, that it's very confusing for us to understand like differences on their experiences with different companies. So that also affects our perception as a recruiter, that if you aren't able to give us proper documentation on things, it might affect the work that you do to our clients as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And you know, it's always amazing to me, and I experience this as well when I teach resume writing courses and business communication courses. It's the simplest things, and you mentioned it, following instructions. Some of the most basic things can create or stop the application and eliminate the applicant from continuing in the process, right? Some of the most
Exactly.
basic things. So absolutely, and I'm sure that when you see that an applicant has not been following instructions, that's really important, I'm sure, because that can predict how that person will function or work with one of your client companies. If they don't follow instructions with you, they probably won't follow instructions with the client company, right? So that's a very
Yes.
early red flag.
Yes,
And
and we're just to add, we're very, like what I said, like 50 to 100 candidates a day needs to be screened. So any small mistake or small concern that we have when it comes to our candidates really affects our decision if they would be moving forward with the screening process.
and I imagine with so many applications and resumes, you probably go through them quite quickly, right?
Yes, exactly.
Before you decide. So it's so important to have a well-written resume that is clear and easy to read and easy to follow, because like you said, the smallest thing can eliminate the applicant from progressing further. Now, I'm just curious, does your company, how do you screen these resumes first? Does a person do it? Or do you use an applicant tracking system of any kind, like an automated software system?
Yes. We actually do all of our screenings with people. So all of 100 candidates, they go through a person who screens them. So individually, that person screens their resume, their portfolio, and decides, and it will be given to another person for double checking of their resume as well. So it goes through two persons before we can even proceed with an initial interview with us as well.
So I would imagine that the actual layout and design and the impression that the resume makes is very important, right? Because a person
Yes.
is looking at it.
Yes, exactly.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Now, Now, what would be some tips that you could give to people who want to become a successful virtual assistant, whether it's resume or skills development or anything, based on your experience?
Yeah. So with the major concerns that I said earlier, I would suggest preparing when it comes to application to any company actually. So it's your responsibility as an applicant to be understandable or make the other people understand your experiences, your portfolio, or what you can bring when it comes to the position that you are applying for. It would really help anyone when it comes to reading resumes or the emails that you send out to them if they are understandable as well. And when it comes to professional or preparing yourself for a position that you're applying for, let's say like a virtual assistant, mind setting is one thing that um, some of our virtual assistants needs practice as well. Some of them came from office-based setups going to a virtual assistant setup. Mind setting is something that takes a long time. By that, I mean, you need to prepare the amount of responsibility, the amount of trust, or the amount of work that needs to be done when it comes to a virtual assistant. In an office-based setup, it's easy to report to anyone because you see each other in an office. It's easier to communicate. But when it comes to remotely working in a space and all of the people you're working with are very far, you need to let them know that, let them know updates, let them know that you are working, and show bigger actions on the work.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned the word mindset a few times, and I think that's very important. And I think I want to ask you one more question. I want to be mindful of your time because I really appreciate that you could join us. But I want to ask you one last question about the mindset. And I think this will be important not just for people who want to become virtual assistants, but also for companies who want to hire virtual assistants. What would you suggest to applicants, or what do you suggest to the applicants to help them transition their mindset, to get the right mindset to be an effective virtual assistant, to provide the most value for a company? Do you have any tips about that?
Yes, I would suggest really self-training as a virtual assistant. So there are many platforms online or free courses also that you can search online, which really build up soft skills and also some software skills that our clients are looking for. Being a virtual assistant, you have to be someone reliable and professional when it comes to the work. So it's really a self-training process where you need to have that initiative to really improve on your work ethic, improve on your resume, your portfolio, and having a good, well-rounded portfolio, resume, and work ethic that you can show maybe during interviews. That is something that could really affect or boost your chances to be noticed in a pool or in a sea of other virtual assistants that are applying for the same job.
And that's a very important thing that you said at the end, because you get so many applicants. It's so important for an applicant to be able to differentiate themselves so that when you see their portfolio, when you see their resume, it stands out, right? It grabs your attention.
Exactly.
And you also mentioned some courses online. I know there's a lot of companies, like I think there's Coursera, there is Udacity, there is edX, and there is LinkedIn Learning and a whole bunch of other ones. And often some of them have free courses. Now I'm thinking, would courses on maybe time management be something that you recommend, or organizational skills?
Yes, definitely. The level of skills when it comes to softwares or specialized certifications you get for softwares is as much as important as soft skills certifications as well. Like what I said, most of our clients are looking for someone reliable, who can organize, who can give them more time. So having that mindset or having that skill when it comes to your work really helps really helps you to set up a good um, let's say relationship or a good work ethic when it comes to your clients.
Oh, that's a good one too. Relationship management, relationship building, lots of different skills. But the great news is that there are so many resources online available for people to improve their skill set. And like you mentioned, both on the software side or the hard skills, as well as on the communication side and the soft skills. Kyle, thank you so much for sharing this wonderful information with us. And if people want to contact you, or they want to find out more about your company, whether it's client companies or skilled virtual assistants, how can they reach you? How can they learn more about your company?
Yes, thank you again, Sir Bart. I really enjoyed our conversation also, and to get to discuss more about the topics. You can reach me at our website at value-va.com, or if you want to get a virtual assistant, you can reach us at info@value-va.com. So to know more about how you can get your virtual assistant. Yeah. And if you are someone who's looking for a remote opportunity to work, you can also reach us and apply at career@value-va.com.
Excellent. And I will post the links that you just mentioned in the description of this video so that people can easily reach out to you. Fantastic. So here is again, Kyle, Relations Manager from Value Virtual Assistants. Thank you so much again for your very valuable tips. And as you can see, value is in the name of the company, which means that they stand behind it.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Kyle. And I hope we have a chance to talk again in the future.
Definitely. I look forward to it, Sir Bart. Thank you very much for having me.
Excellent. And viewers, as always, if you have any comments or questions, please make sure to post them in the comments section below this video.